Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. You are attending the Yahuah Direct webinar. I am Ayana, and I will be facilitating for you today. But first, let us start with a word of prayer. Ab Yah, thank you so very much for blessing us with this day. Thank you that you have kept us and preserved us, and that you take care of us, even though we don't take care of ourselves quite as well. Father, I ask if you can please bless us with an understanding to know your word, with an understanding to appreciate your word, and then with the understanding to do your word. Father, please enmesh the meanings of your words into our hearts, into our minds, into our spirits, so that we can be made whole, we can be made pure, and we can represent you well on this earth. We thank you, we praise you, and we love you. And we ask for this in your Kadash name, Yahuah, Alua Ya'am, through your son, Yahusha HaMashiach. All right, so let us start with our statement scripture, which can be found in Yahuah chapter 14, verse 6. And Yahushua said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And as we know, that word way is direct, found in Strong's H1870. It is a road, figuratively a course of life or a mode of action, adverbially a journey, manner, or pathway. And you can see direct in several different verses. I just chose another one where you can find it. It's in Ma'asai, Acts chapter 19, verse 23. Let us proceed on to the Hashima, which is rendered into English, the hearing, and also to obey. You can find this abbreviated version in Devarim, that's Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verses 4 through 6. Shmei Yasharal, Yahuah Alua Ya'am, Yahuah Akkad. Ahab Yahuah Alua Ya'am, Labab Nefesh Ma'ad, Debar Suah, Yaum Labab. Into English, you shall love Yahuah, your Alua, with all your heart, with all your soul, and everything that is within you or your strength. These words I charge you with this day shall be in your heart. All right, so today I wanted to talk about something a little weighty, a little that's not often talked about, but actually does occur. And we'll go over some scriptures about it, and it is about curses and cursing. And what I want to talk about is knowing exactly what they are and how they're used against you, and ultimately how you can defend against that using Yahuah and his word. All right, so let's start with the dictionary definition of curse, and I used dictionary.com, so your personal dictionary may say something a little different, but in essence, to curse as far as a noun means an expression of a wish that misfortune, evil, doom, etc. befall a person or group. 2, a formula or charm intended to cause misfortune of another, the act of reciting such a formula. 3, a profane oath, in other words, curse words or profanity. As a verb, it means to swear at, again, we're talking like profanity, to blaspheme, and to excommunicate. Okay, so In the account that we're going to read, we're actually going to talk about the cursing of Yasharel by Balaam. And you can find that it is a story that crosses about 2 chapters. So I'm not going to read the entire 2 chapters just for the sake of time. But if you want to read the account of it yourself, you can go to Midbar, which is Numbers, chapters 22 through 24. Okay? And it's a pretty long account of how the king of the Moabs at the time that Yasharel is trying to enter into what is referred to as the Promised Land. So they have left Mitzrayim, they've been in the desert, and now they're coming up out of Arabia, and they are entering, they're going through, and they're fighting and they're conquering people. I believe just before this they conquered the Amorites, and they are coming into and taking over the Promised Land that was promised to Abraham. So I am going to start at verse 5 of chapter 22. Before that, the king of Moab at that time, his name was Balak. You can see his name here, and his Balak means destruction, to destroy, to ruin. So the king of the Moabites is Balak, okay? And he sees the tribe of Yasharel coming, and he sends messengers to Balaam, who is I don't know, a soothsayer, a sorcerer, I don't know, a sage, a wise man, whatever. There are a lot of euphemisms that are used in the scriptures to talk about these type of people. But Balaam means to bind. Okay, so Balaam is the so-called prophet that Balak sends a messenger to, and this is the message that Balak sends to Balaam, starting at verse 5, chapter 22. And he sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor, at Pethor, which is near the river in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, See, a people has come from Mitzrayim. See, they have covered the surface of the land and are settling next to me. And now, please come at once. Curse these people for me, for they are too strong for me. It might be that I strike them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed. And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian is in Arabia, and the elders of Midian left with fees of divination in their hand, and they came to Balaam and spoke the word of Balak to him. Now, 2 things. Balaam apparently has a reputation, and he lives somewhere. If you look into it, his people live somewhere near the Arnon River, which is a river off of the Jordan. Okay, so, and according to what I found, so, and Balaam lives in Aram, which is today modern day Syria. So Moab, the king of Moab, he sends for Balaam because obviously he has some reputation of being able to curse or bless or whatever. And he sends his elders, okay? And not only the elders of Moab, but the elders of Midian, okay? And it says in your scriptures that they left with fees of divination, but if you look at the Hebrew, if you look in your scriptures, this fees or payment is italicized which means that's not in the Hebrew. Okay, so in reality, what it says in the Hebrew is that the elders of Midian and the elders of Moab left with divination in their hand. Now, I don't quite know what that means. I don't know if it's charms. I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is, some sort of token, but, or the elders themselves may be sages and wise men to come to Balak. I'm not sure, but it definitely in the Hebrew says that they left with divination in their hand. Okay, so the word for curse in the Yahuah, and I am using Paleo Hebrew and not pictographs, and this is the Aleph, and these are two reshes, is Arar, or in reality R. Okay, it's just R, but if you look it up, it's Strong's H77 779, and it will say Arar. So it's really R, but Arar just means to curse. So they come to him and they ask him, they give him whatever this is, and they want him, they want him to come back. The elders want him to come back to Moab and to King Balak with him. Now I'm skipping a lot of this because it is pretty long. So he's on the way. He has this, he goes against what Yahuah, Balaam goes against what Yahuah tells him to do. And he tells him, to stay where he's at. Well, he goes off with the elders, and Yahuah dispatches a Malakia angel, and the angel is there to destroy Balaam, and Balaam's donkey upon which he's riding actually speaks to him, and he has a conversation with the angel, and the angel tells him to go on, but to only say what Yahuah wants him to say. So he gets there, and now we're at verse 39, and this is still chapter 22. And Balaam went with Balak, and they came outside the city walls, and Balak slaughtered cattle and sheep, and he sent for Balaam and the princes that were with him. And it came to be in the morning, Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the high places of Baal. And from there he saw the extremity of the camp. Now, two things here before we go further. I have outside the city walls. They have this in your scriptures as a proper name. In the ISR scriptures, it says Kiryeth Kutsoth, but it may say something else, especially if you're using a King James version. I think it starts with a K there, but what it means is just outside the city, and outside the walls. So that's what I have here. Second, a high place in Yahuah is called Bama, or Bama, but Bama, and it's in Strong's H1116, and it's a high place. It's usually a ridge or a mountain or a hill. It's an elevated place. All right. Now, going on to chapter 23, verse 1. And Balaam said to Balak, build 7 slaughter places for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam sacrificed, and I missed a word here, I apologize for that, sacrificed a bull and a ram on each slaughter place. So, what you see here as far as the cursing is that out of fear, King Balak, okay, remember his name is Destruction, he sees the number of Yasharel. He hears about what they did to the Amorites, and he is afraid. Okay, he cannot face Yasharel head on in open war because there's too many of them. So what he does is he hires a soothsayer, okay, a sage, whatever you want to use, to curse them. Now, if you continue on the rest of chapter 23 and also into 24, you will see that the king Balak, he tries 3 times to get Balaam to curse. But Yahuah, every time Balaam opens his mouth, Yahuah causes him to bless Yasharel instead of the cursing that Balak really wants. So by the 3rd time he's, ready to proclaim, Balak is like, okay, if you can't curse him, then don't bless him either. If I can't get you to curse him, just don't bless him. And pretty much, Balaam, Balak is very upset. Balaam is sent on his way, and obviously Moab is taken over. Now, the point to this is to show that cursing is real. It's old, it's real, and it's not, a folk story. It is right here in the scriptures. It says it, okay. It also, like I said, I'm not sure whether divination in their hand meant that they had the ability to, to divine to their deity, or if they had tokens or amulets. But both have been used. Okay, there are other accounts that they have been used. So these things are used also. Now, the ultimate thing that you need to see here is that what has to be done to curse. Obviously, you have to get somebody who is a diviner, someone who is into witchcraft. Okay, well, that's how we say it today. But back then, they called them a oracle. They called them diviners. They called them whatever, witches, warlocks. You have to get somebody who's adept at that. Okay. You also have to have a belief in a false deity. False deity. Usually, some fallen, some demonic being. Okay, in the guise of a deity, under various names. That's used all around the world. You also have to sacrifice, and then you have to either be able to see your target or to obtain something from your target, okay, to do this. So, saying all that, ultimately, we want to know, why is cursing done? And cursing is done for 3 primary things. It's done out of fear or hate, or a mixture of both. Hate is fear, so they're actually one and the same thing. Okay? It's also done to diminish the strength, the purity, or the purpose of the target. All right? Either to diminish the strength, which obviously in the case of Balak and Balaam, this was the case. Okay? Balak wanted to diminish the strength of Yasharel, the strength of numbers, their ability to defeat the kingdoms. And it wasn't just the king of Moab, it was also the elders of Midian. Okay? So evidently they came together, okay, to take away the strength and the purpose of Yasharel. The purpose of them, obviously, was to conquer and regain the land that was given to Abraham. Okay. So he wanted to diminish their strength of numbers, their ability to fight. Balak wanted to diminish the purpose of their goals or their targets. Lastly, to attack or destroy or whatever the target that's in a weakened state. Okay, remember, weakened state, you want to diminish the strength, you want to diminish their purpose, you want to diminish their purity, and once you diminish it, it is to attack, it is to destroy. And if we go back here, this is what Balak is saying. Okay, come here, a people from Israel, they've covered the surface of the land and are settling next to me. And now please come and curse them, for they are too strong for me, so that it might be that I strike them and drive them out the land. So he wanted them to be cursed, so their strength would be diminished, and then so he would be able to attack and drive them out of the land. These are the three purposes of what cursing is supposed to accomplish. Okay, and there might be other ones, but these are the three primary ones. Now, how do you come against that or those who may be against you? And I want to say this, because a lot of people, they think these are a lot of educated people today, they think that that's, hocus pocus. They think it's old wives' tales. It is not. If it's in the scriptures, it happened, and it's not an allegory, as a lot of the theologians. It's not an allegory. It's true. There are several instances. If you look up in the scriptures, the witch of Endor. Okay, that's in the scriptures. There's several different purposes. Solomon, he gets a lady that she's a necromancer. She calls up dead spirits, and he uses that so he can get divination on whether or not he'll win a battle. Okay, so it's real. It's not old wives' tales, and it is used today. Saying that, the time is now and will be where when you do your purpose in Yahuah, when you are delivering his word and you're telling people and you are living out what Yahuah has in his scriptures, okay, you will have those who come against you. Okay, and they will come against you, and it'll be in all forms. It'll be your family, your friends, your co-workers, acquaintances, anyone. Okay, they'll come against you. They won't like it, and they'll cause you through different various ways to try and get you away from it. If they cannot lead you away by enticement, because that's usually the first thing, then your purpose, you remain strong to your purpose, then they will turn to cursing. And it may be profanity. Let's go back to the definition here. It may be profanity. They may blaspheme Yahuah. They may say things, that you wouldn't necessarily think was evil, but it is talking against you. So they say something like, oh, well, you'll never complete that. That's not necessarily a curse, but that is a bind. Okay? That is to keep you from doing what you want to do. Okay? But some, and you will never see them outright, the ones who will try and come against you will curse you, but you won't know it. Nowhere in any of the two chapters does it say that Yasharel was aware of the goings on of Balak and Balaam. They were on a hilltop looking at them. Okay, here we go. And it came in the morning, Balak took Balaam and brought him to the high places of Baal. And from there he saw the extremity of the camp. This is Yasharel, encamped near Moab. Okay? So nowhere does it say that they were aware that these men were doing this. And the same will be true for you. If there is some sort of cursing or whatever, you won't know about it. It will be that something just occurs. Okay? Maybe someone, and it goes all the way from the mundane, just profanity, cursing you out, and enticement, to the extreme where someone is being called to summon up some evil spirit to go against you. So how do you counteract that? What do you need to do? What do you need to know? And where in the scriptures is it that you can come against that? Here. 3 primary things that you need to do. First thing is that you need to have faith. You need to know. That's your faith exercising there. Know that nothing can curse what Yahuah has blessed. If you are blessed of Yahuah, if you follow his word, if you practice what he says, okay, in his scriptures, you are blessed. If you're doing what he wants you to do, you are blessed. And it will be evident. You will know it, everybody will know it, and they will see it. The scripture that I pulled out for this, knowing nothing can curse what Yahuah is blessed, Yahuah says it himself in Bereshith. That is Genesis chapter 12 verse 3. He's speaking to Abraham about prophetic, about what will happen. I will bless them that bless you, and curse him that curses you. And in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So this is prophetic. Will. That's future tense. I will bless them that bless you, curse him that curses you. You got to know that you are covered if you are doing what Yahuah stipulates in his scriptures. 2, bless those that curse you. If someone is coming against you, bless them. Matthew 5, chapter 5, verse 44. But I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Do good to those hating you, and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you. Why does he say that? Because if you look here in Mishlei, that is Proverbs chapter 25, verses 21, 22. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you are heaping coals of fire on his head, and Yahuah rewards you. You bless them. Bless them. Whoever, if you think something is going on and someone speak to you a binding or cursing, first of all, you can rebuke the binding. Okay? But you can also rebuke the curse, but then you can turn around and bless them with the love of Yahuah. Bless them with Yahuah's peace. Bless them with Yahuah's ruach, or his spirit. Bless them. Believe me. Do good to them. It's worked. I've done it personally myself. Several months ago, a man called me every name in the book. Every name in the book. He called me every name but my proper name. And I blessed him abundantly. Not only him and everything of his hand, his family, his employees, everything. And that man has not said a word to me. I don't know what happened. I don't know what went on between him and Yahuah, but I can tell you this, that I have not heard one word from that man. Not one word. 3, pray. Pray to Yahuah, which is something we should continually do. But pray fervently. Okay? If you feel that something is amiss, and you'll be able to tell, because we have Yahuah's Ruach Kedusha in us. Okay? If you are sensitive and you listen to it, you'll know that something is amiss, and you pray. You pray. So, in review, we talked about curses. We talked about what they are. Okay? An expression, that means words. No one can look at you and curse you. They have to say it. Okay? So you counteract evil words with good words. That's why you bless. Okay? They speak cursings. You speak blessings. Through Yahuah, through Yahusha. Okay? You speak it back. You counteract that with good. And the only good thing is Yahuah. Okay? It is an expression, always. Even if there is a charm that has to be reciting of such with the formula or the charm or whatever, there has to be words. So you use your words to bless. All right? We talked about how they're used against you. They're used to diminish your strength, your purity, your purpose. And then once you are weakened, they or the person or the spirits behind it will attack you or destroy you. Okay? How do you counteract that? We talked about how to counteract that. You have to know, you have to have the faith to know that Yahuah, nothing can curse what Yahuah has blessed. And if you are living according to Yahuah's word, you are blessed. Okay? For those who do come against you to your face, bless them. You counteract those evil words with good. And know that your blessing will have an effect on them. Heap coals of fire on their head. Okay? And Yahuah will reward you. Lastly, pray. Pray not only for you, pray for your family, pray for your household, pray for the workings of your hand, pray for your co-workers, anybody who is within your realm and that you contact, that you talk to, okay, anybody, you pray. And always pray for protection, always, 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 day and night. So, now we are to the review of the Yahuah words. Yahuah is the proper name for the language. Hebrew is not the proper term, so it's Yahuah. But if you want to use the modern Hebrew, it would be Yahudit. Okay, but without the vowel pointing, it's Yahuah. So the first word that we talked about today, using the Paleo Hebrew, is Arar or R. You can find that in H779, and that means to curse. Aleph, Resh, Resh. The second word that we talked about today is Bama. That is Bet, Mem, Hey. You can find that at H1116. It means a high place, a ridge, a mountain, or a hill, used for cultic sacrifices or cultic um, prayers and divinations. Okay? All right. So as always, you can find this webinar and other ones. They're recorded. They will be uploaded onto the YouTube channel, the Yahuah Direct channel on YouTube. You can use this link here, or you can just put in Yahuah Direct into the search box. If anyone has any questions or comments or anything, you can please contact me at yahuahdirect@yahoo.com. I am Ayana. And at this time, I'd like to say, may Yahuah abundantly bless you and your family with his ahab, his shalom, and his protection. Hallelujah.